What is business system development? Business system development sounds so fancy, doesn't it? It's just a complex way of saying we're documenting the processes every day. See, the truth is you actually work systems and processes every day. The problem is you just don't document them. And therefore, the business can't run or grow with or without you. And that's our goal. By the end of this video, you're going to understand the fancy, complex business system development, but in very common terms. You know, we all have technology to some degree, and one of the things that I'm seeing more and more, especially in an age of increased security, is I'll go to open an app, usually at an airport when I'm running behind, and the app will go, oh, got to update and download the new version. And you look and it's like version 10.3.71-0A. And you're like, oh my gosh. But that's how software develops over time because it has bugs and they've got to work out the bugs. Well, the reality is business system building or business system development is the same way. It evolves over time. We tell people all the time that your business system, your vision, your mission, your values, your processes are never more than 90 to 95% complete. There's always a growth stage to it. Think about it kind of like landscaping outside. You got a tree, you got a shrub, you got grass, it grows, you cut it, what does it do again? Grows back up. And so it creates this cycle of having to maintain and to update, and business process, business system development is no different. So let's talk about how that works. If I were to boil business system development down in its component parts, it's developing, it's training, and then it's improving. Developing, training, improving, and in fact, we could change the word developing to documenting. It's a much simpler concept. So we document, we train, we improve. We document, we train, we improve. And so we redocument the thing we need to improve in order to retrain it, to go back and improve it, and it's this big, long cycle. But I want to take that basic element and drop it down over 5 component parts in business system development to make it super simple for you as a business owner to go in and update this and make it a regular part of the life cycle of your business. By the way, why are we doing this? What's the why? It's because many owners live in chaos and we want to liberate you from that chaos and we want you to build a business that can run and grow with or without you. So let's talk about the development cycle. First thing we want to do is we want to actually document the processes that are there. Now remember this, there's systems and there's processes. Processes, when they gather together in a collection, create a system. But a system is just a collection of processes. So there are not many systems in a business. In fact, there's 4 we've identified. Marketing, sales, operations, and administration or accounting, HR. And so the processes, though, underneath, there are tens or hundreds of those. So process is the minute parts. The system is the collection of the whole. So think about the electrical system in your house. The electrical system is the whole, but the lights and the fixtures and the wiring and all that, those are the component parts to make up the whole. So we want to document, acknowledge the systems, but then document the processes within those systems. Second thing is once we've got those things documented, we want to start training what we've documented with what we call the RPMs of great training and leadership. And that is repetition, predictability, and meaning. In other words, do it again. Okay, I just ran sprints. Great, do it again. Can you imagine a basketball coach going, oh, you ran sprints once? Great, we're done for the whole season. It wouldn't make any sense. We need to be in a continual state of training. So once we've got it trained, we want to do it with repetition, predictability, and of course, we've got to bring meaning into that. We've got to tie it, just like I told you a few minutes ago, why I'm doing this video. You've got to tie your training to the why of what you're doing. That's where a mission statement comes in really powerfully, by the way. And a good mission statement, not a, we want to be the world's most preeminent seller of HVAC units or whatever. No. Why are you doing that? Is because we want to create life in homes. Ooh, that's different. And so when we go about training, why are we doing our training? To create life in homes. I've just made one up. Why are we at Business on Purpose doing training? So that we can liberate you, the owner, from chaos to make time for what matters most. So we tie meaning to the training of what we're doing. Okay, so we started to train. Now we want to take and we want to measure that training. You've heard of something called a KPI, or a key performance indicator. And it's just showing the indication of are we heading to the outcomes that we want to go to. And that's another word I'll add is this idea of outcome. Why is that so important? Well, in many businesses, we name a lot of outcomes. We want to get more impressions in our marketing, and we want to sell more widgets in our thing, and we want to grow revenue, we want to decrease expenses, we want to grow net income, and so we just start tabbing and mounting up 15 and 20 and 30 different outcomes. You really need to boil outcomes down into those 4 areas of marketing, sales, ops, and admin. Remember those systems I talked to you about? So what is the one outcome for marketing that you're going after? I'll tell you, for us, leads. That's it. What's the one outcome for sales that you're going after? For us, conversions to new clients. That's it. What's the one outcome we're going for in operations? You know what it is for us? is a successful client engagement that leads to client retention. We want to work with our clients for a long period of time. That's the outcome we're looking at. What do we look at for accounting and auditing? Profitability. And so those four things, leads to conversions, conversions to client retention to profitability. Those are our leading indicators. Those are our lead outcomes that we're looking for. So we want to measure those, and we measure those by putting them into what we call the Big 5 feedback loop. So we have weekly team meetings, we have weekly marketing and sales meetings, we have weekly production meetings, we call them coaching meetings, and we have weekly accounting meetings as well, so that we can talk about all these things and make sure we're measuring the outcomes. So we've documented the process, we train the team on it so that they can run it within the boundaries, and then we measure those outcomes as they're running it. The fourth element of building this systems development is to actually gather the feedback. And so once you've got this feedback loop looking at outcomes, we've got to gather and sort of see what that feedback is telling us to do. We can really uncover some exciting things through that. So let's say that one of your strategies is client retention, but all of a sudden you've got a churn rate of 70%. And so you're measuring that outcome. We need to gather that feedback and see what that's trying to tell us. There are a lot of times that we don't let our business speak to us. I know it sounds crazy, like some kind of voodoo magic. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is when we start looking at the data that we've measured and we gather it and put it into a compendium that we can look at, we can now listen in a fine-tuned way to what the business is telling us, what the market is telling us, what the customer is telling us, and we can start to adjust our strategy based on that, and we can go update our documents. So all this works in a loop. Document the process, train on it with repetition, predictability, and meaning, measure it, gather that outcome, and then that'll lead us to that final element to where we can actually take what we've gathered and we can improve. Remember, I boiled that down at the beginning. So this is all a cycle in how it works. Document, train to measure, measure to outcome, and then we improve on that outcome. So we just get better and better and better. That is business systems development. Now, this all happens within the larger operating system of a business. In fact, I've done a really, really good video for you to walk you through what the entire business operating system looks like, so you can see that when you're following this process of business system development, where it sits in the larger whole. So click on that link in the description below to make sure that you can go check that out. Now with this, when we're talking about documenting, training, and all that, there's one key element with all of this that will make this either go north or south. And so who do we train? We train the people. Who do we document for? The people. They work that documented process. Who are we measuring? The people. What outcomes are we gathering? The people and what they've put into place. And who are we going to train to improve? It all goes back to people. So here's a next step for you, is go to a video that I've linked to in the description below, and it'll take you to a video I've done a while back to walk you through how to find the right people, how to equip those people. And at the end of that video, we actually provide you with a free gift. And in this free gift, it's a custom employee handbook along with the key templates that we use with clients today. Our teams put all that in there so it can leverage you so that you can position yourself to build a business system. Why? So the business can run and grow with or without you. Our entire aim at Business on Purpose is to liberate you from chaos, to make time for the things that matter most.